Hi everyone. So I just want to do a little introduction of myself. So when I was at ThoughtWorks as head of marketing, it was I left 15 months ago because setting up events was really quite painful for me, and I thought the key to audience engagement there was really compelling content. So I had this idea of a dual-sided marketplace, and then I pivoted in April this year. So what you're going to see is a little bit about gamification and a little bit about what I've built so far since April of this year. So my vision was really around creating a web-based gamified platform that really engages audiences, and for the brands and organizers behind it, create better lead generation, because that was a really pain point for me. So this is very much an extreme version of really bored audiences, disengaged. But in a lot of events that you might have seen, because we live in such a world where we've got we can tweet, we can check our emails, we probably have some stuff still back at the office. Hopefully that's not you guys right now. It's really hard for someone like myself presenting to understand and engage how engaged audiences are. And I'm talking physical audiences at this point, but really audience could be offline as well as online. Sorry. So let's start with a definition of what is audience engagement. And this one I liked from Digital Playbook, which was a recent study by the Center for Exhibition Industry Research. So audience engagement is the measure of an organization's ability to create a brand community and galvanize it into action in ways that go beyond one-time transactions. And engagement is about creating multiple, ever deeper interactions that occur over multiple channels and tactics. And in that study, promoting audience attendee engagement, in this case in terms of physical events, I was really quite surprised when they did this research that promotion of attendee engagement wasn't during the event. You'll see the yellow is where they're connecting. It's pre-event, yes. Post-event, yes. Throughout the event life cycle, really to get people to come to the event, to talk about the event, and throughout the year. But at the event, it was only 9%. So the question I asked myself was, what can really engage online and offline in terms of that real world audience? So sex sells, magical marketing, the gloss, and amazing content, obviously that sells. Giveaways, I don't know if anyone remembers when Oprah came and, in her TV audience, she gave away to that old crew, the entire audience to come to Australia. Freebies sell. Games sell. So that, I don't know if you know, if you've played Farmville, but 80 million players versus the highest top ranking primetime TV shows, only 21 million viewers. So what things are fun? And these are just examples. Winning is fun. Problem solving is fun. Exploring can be fun. Surprise can be fun. Recognition can be fun. And it's stuck. Customization is fun, creating your own avatars, that can be fun. Collecting stuff like jewels and some kids' games, that can be fun. I mean, those are just examples of what can be fun. And the idea of games is where you get into that very addictive zone, that flow where you're just really stuck and you can't get out. That's the dream of any game or any gamification application. I still remember when I was in the HSC, I can't remember the name of the game, but I used to play 2-3 hours of some stupid game instead of actually cramming, but that was probably the last time I was that seriously addicted. So I thought I'd start with also with a definition of what is gamification. And there's lots of variations of definitions, but I like this one best. So Gabe Zickerman, who's the author of Game-Based Marketing and Gamification by Design, he says, gamification is the process of using game thinking and game mechanics to solve problems and engage users. I just added in non-game context. So this is not creating games, but applying game-like techniques into typically boring non-game contexts. When I started my journey as a startup, I basically read everything I could about gamification. And the first course I took, I thought I'd share my notes with you. So this is a Coursera course that's still running by Kevin Werbuck, who recently wrote a book called For the Win. And the fundamentals are at the bottom is game components. And there's a whole range of game components, from avatars, badges, leaderboards. I mean, the most common ones would be PBLs, points, badges, and leaderboards. I won't go through every one of them, it's just to give you a bit of a flavor. And the game mechanics, that's Kevin there, the game mechanics are the process that drive the action forward, that create that impetus and hopefully meet the business objective of the game elements. So that could be something like creating competition, giving them rewards for meeting the, actually showing the behavior that you're wanting to create. So the first example is a recent, so Gabe Zickerman, I mentioned to you, he created a startup, and this is a gamified Twitter client for conferences, and this is only about a month old. And you can play the video, please.
Everybody's seen this, which is people at conferences tend to listen to the speaker, but they also have a back channel, and they tend to want to interact with the other people in the conference. And Twitter is one of the main ways they do that. So this is where we saw the opportunity to bring in some fun game elements and combine that with Twitter. What we came up with was Meme Cube, which is basically memes cubed, which is memes are ideas and powerful concepts that are new and surprising from the speakers. And we wanted everybody in the audience to be able to interact with each other, and we wanted the greatest, newest, best memes and ideas to rise to the top. The whole idea is people would log into the m.gsummit.com site. They sign in with their Twitter account, which I don't have a slide up, but this is me already signed in. You can see my picture there. And you would see the list of sessions. You would click on the one that you want, the one that was, you'd click on the session that was coming up at the time, and you would see that if you check in, you would see the number of other people that were checked in. And over time, you would see the number of tweets and retweets go up. So I just want to say one quick thing about the retweets, which is that's the key to the memes rising to the top. Most people tweet quotes that the speakers are talking about. So as the talk goes on, the ideas that the speaker's talking about will be tweeted. And if somebody sees that there's already been something tweeted, instead of tweeting it themselves, they will retweet it. That's the whole idea. And we introduced all kinds of game elements to give points for retweeting and tweeting, and to get people to look at what was already there, so that the most important things would rise to the top. And they automatically would sort, so that you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but the top number of retweets would rise to the top. And then at the end of the talk, you see the most important points. So go back to this. This is just basically the game element, which is up in the top. This 16 is the number of points that I was at this point. It kind of shows my history and each place that I earned points. These are some little badges that we give away for people that checked in on each day, checked in on both days. We had all kinds of different badges. And here's my activity. You can see that here's all the things that I earned points in. Here's all my achievements that I earned. And we even had what we call tweeter board, which is our version of a leaderboard. So the top point earners would show there in the leaderboard. We had the most retweeted tweets out of all of the talks. And then we had the most tweeted events. So it kind of showed, it was sort of a contest for the speakers as well, because whoever earned the most tweets and the most mentioned in tweets, they would instantly be ranked. And the last thing is the end gamers, which is the people that completed all the steps to get to a certain point. And I'll show you this. There's a couple of things here that only the end gamers were eligible for, some prizes.
So I forgot to mention that I'm doing a bit of a quiz. So you have to pay attention to some of the game elements in the couple of case studies that I'm going to show you now. So sorry about that. And to encourage you on that, I've got a couple of books that I managed to get the Pollenizer guys in Sydney. So if you like lean startup, I don't know if you've heard of this book, it's called Startup Focus. It's basically think lean startup, but a practical handbook for lean startup. It's really helped me. So I thought, there's 5 books here for the quiz that I will pop, which is towards the end of the case study, but you'll need to pay attention to the game elements of the case studies that I'm going to show. So just as a summary, the objective in LiveCube was very much about observing that we already tweet at events. How do we encourage more of that behavior to create more compelling content, but also to create a sense of community and connection between the people that already come to the events like this? So that's the objective. And what you probably saw were points and badges and the leaderboards, or the tweeter board. So tweets, the points there, points history, the badges. And so this is some of the results that they got from the gamification summit that was in 2013, earlier this year. So amazing, at 40%, this is the first time, it's one of the earlier events that they ran it on. 40% used LiveCube, 20 tweets per attendee, that's quite high. What else? And then in a Fortune 50 company event, 82% used LiveCube, 35 reposts, 877 session check-ins. And then at a recent Fortune 10 company event, 100% usage. I mean, it's a smaller base, 183 attendees, 33 messages. So you can see that the gamification elements encourage an existing behavior. So the easier thing to do with gamification is look at what behavior already exists. But if you want to encourage that, how do you make it more fun? So that's an example of a great success, I think. This is another example. I don't know if who has a Nike Plus, a Nike tag. Yeah, it's quite popular, but I thought I'd play. This is not a very recent advertisement, but it's an interesting one. If you can play the video, please.
What is it? It can arise at any moment. It knows who you are. It knows where you are. It defines you. And no one wants to be it. So don't be it. Run. The Nike Plus GPS app. Get more from your run. Play tag.
So what Nike Plus very cleverly did was, people run, how do you encourage more running? So that's the objective. How do you make it more fun? How do you help their, aside from obviously driving up the equipment, but how do you encourage them to do something that's sometimes a bit difficult to do when it's early in the morning or you've got kids to feed? So the elements, these are the slew of elements that they created, but the core things is around points, being able to have a leaderboard to then challenge your friends, badges, which I will show you here, and obviously the leaderboard and other elements as well. This is my example. So what I'm going to show you is part of a 60-second pitch that I just did 2.5 weeks ago at TechCrunch. So partly inspired by Harry Potter, the Marauders map, partly inspired by watching my kids play tag. So the problem again was what I hated, what I find as an attendee hard to do, especially since I'm fundraising right now, is networking is a real pain in the ass. It's often a game of chance. You don't know who you're going to sit next to. You don't know, if, particularly in large audiences, large spaces like conventions, like TechCrunch was just huge, but there were serendipitous meetings, but often it's a game of chance. Oh, sorry. So can you play the video, please? So I had the idea of, what if you had a Marauders map? You could actually track where they are as and when they're moving around, and only look for the ones that you actually want to see. So imagine being able to log in, pick the event you're at, show the skills that you have, pick the skills that you want to look for, and through a slider, be able to then filter who you're looking for. So it disappears based on your search criteria. And then you go, I am going to hunt that person down. In that case, tell him that I'm hunting him down, so I'm tagging him now. Then I'm playing a game of chase with him. And then if he decides Teresa's really annoying, I'll cloak myself. But then I know he's cloaked himself. And then when he reappears, I can hunt him down again. So then the leaderboard, so that's kind of the design prototype we came up with in 24 hours. And, got really great press coverage, so I'm building it right now. So that's Target, which I'm hoping will be out sometime in November. Then this is the last example, which if you could go to, if you're on the table, the bit.ly link is on the table, and there's a QR code as well. But basically, if you go to bit.ly/DigFest, I'm one of 5 different speakers in the next 2 days that is using the beta version of my gamified poll and quiz platform. Mine's the quiz, which is why you have the prize as hopefully a bit of a goal. So the first question, has everyone got to bit.ly/DigFest? I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. So a little bit about the poll and quiz platform. The difference between polls and quizzes are polls are just votes simply based on having your opinion be heard, and you get rewarded via points if the organizer chooses to reward you with that. And there is a participant list. So whoever logs into the system, as you are going to right now, towards the end before you see the participant list, if you log in via LinkedIn or via Twitter, then your picture shows up on that participant list, and then you can connect with each other. So there's another soft way of connecting with each other by looking at who's voted as well as who's voted like me. So the idea around is I wonder who has similar opinions to myself. That's the poll product, which I've called Amplify. The quiz product, which you're about to do as part of this exercise here, is the same thing, except there is a right or wrong. So the idea here, the game elements here is as it's real time. So as you guys log in, it's web-based. The participant number at the top goes up. Your score goes up as you get points. The faster you vote, the higher your score. That's basically it. So it's a customized platform like SurveyMonkey where you can put in your questions and answers. So first question, what are the key gamification components that is common across all the examples shown today? Is it points, badges, and leaderboards, or points and leaderboards only? Next question is, what is gamification? Is it using game thinking and game mechanics to solve problems and engage users, or is it applying game theory to solve problems? So what I'll do is I'll award the results at the end, because you'll need a little bit of time to, a couple of minutes to, James, you're at the top right now. Funny that. Okay, so I've got James at the top. You can see this obviously in your, once you've logged in via Twitter or LinkedIn. I've got Andrew on second right now, Tristan number 3, Elise number 4, and Vaughn number 5. So at the end of my presentation, I'll check my leaderboard and I'll find you guys to give you your prize. So gamification, Gartner said by 2014, more than 70% of Global 2000 organizations would have at least one gamified application driving 50% of all innovation. But they also say, which I didn't put in here, 80% will fail because they have either poor game design or it's not aligned to true objectives of the organizer or the brand. So I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of point you to resources in case you're interested in learning more. So I mentioned Coursera has the gamification course, so just keep your eye out on that. Udemy also has 2 courses for game designers. I like gamification.co. It's a great hub for different sorts of resources, videos, and thought leaders' posts. And the 2 books that I have read that I would recommend is For the Win by Kevin Werbuck and Gamification of Learning and Instruction, because I've got much more of an education bent. But there's lots of books out there. Just, go and have fun and play. And if you did get a perfect score, you would see this guy doing a bit of a jig. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, come find me later.